Hello, my amazing people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on your time zone or anytime you are coming across my platform, Linda's TV show. If it's your first time and you like what you are watching, kindly subscribe, put on your notification bell to all notification. In that way, you'll be able to know when we upload a new video. Here we react to all forms of videos. YouTube, I want to appreciate you for creating this wonderful platform for us to use to disseminate information. And at the same time, I put a disclaimer that here in Linda's TV show, we do not promote hate speech. We do not promote misleading information. We do not promote violence. Linda's TV show is here to educate and inform the members of the public about what is happening in the world.
Where the jihadists are in charge. Ilori is where Fulanis are in charge with their emir. That is the place you find peace. But every other region, they want to take it over by force. And when we talk that this thing is genocide, people call it a joke. The most mistake they are making is to ignore Biafra. It doesn't matter where you come from, whether you are in the north, in the west, in the south. The only thing that is still making you have breath today to speak up, call Nigeria, is Biafra. It is the Biafran people that still make you have the gut to open your mouth and talk about Nigeria. If not, you would have been a caliphate by now. You see some people, some from the southwest, our Yoruba brothers, they forget the main problem. Some of them, they forget the major problem. The existential threat, the threat to extinct people. They don't care about it. They are losing their own land. They don't care about it. All they care about is Biafra people. When they see your Biafra program, they get their temper will rise. When they hear Biafra, they will become uncomfortable. If you see where they are shouting, you will think you stole anything from them. All we are asking is our freedom, not their own freedom. The Oduduwa people have their own, they are pursuing. It doesn't matter how serious they are, whether they want it or don't want it. We want our own. And we can make noise about our own for as much as we care. Why are you bothered about us talking about our own? Today, go to the media today. It is the same Yoruba people. They are in the media defending the atrocities of the Janjaweed. Mazen Nnaly, in one of his messages, he said, this monster you are building is going to swallow you. This python you are feeding this python. A time will come when it will swallow you. Go to media, they are the one defending. Telling people that telling other people in the world that it is not true. There is no genocide. The other idiot called Fani Kayode, somebody who I have so many of his videos where he was speaking about this very thing. I will check if I can find one of his videos. Where he was talking about the genocide of the Christians. All of a sudden, he has turned around 360 degrees. And today, he's saying a different thing. If you have conscience, you must add your voice and speak. Let us hear what Pastor El Buba has to say. One of the pastors in the north that is in the front line also speaking, even though he's a one Nigerian, and he knows that one Nigeria cannot save him.
Also have a responsibility to make sure not go into the point right conception through this truth, and truth must not be covered for anything. If there is anything that has been brought up, we must work together to see to an end this reality. There is this issue that is ongoing about the genocide in Nigeria against Christians and Militants. It is true. We can't deny it. Before the militants and some of the Islamic militants began to kill some of the Hausas in Zamfara and other places, we all know that Christian communities were totally displaced. And we have recorded tens of thousands of Christians in the northern Nigeria that have been killed and their communities have been taken away. genocide. What is the meaning of genocide? I mean, the English definition is there. What genocide means. But I want you, except you are an enemy of Nigeria, but if you know that you're passionate and you're patriotic about the state of the, we must share this among ourselves and speak the truth to ourselves and agree with the reality of what is on ground. I have had some of the special assistant media and all of that to the president coming out to say there is no genocide in Nigeria. It's a lie, absolute lie. Just look at it. From in 2025, over 7,000 Christians were killed. Now, in just 2025, 7,087 Christians were killed in 220 days of 2025 alone. Now, daily average Christians that have been killed per day is 32 Christians per day that have been killed in this country. Oh, another record in 2024, 3,100 Christians were killed. In 2023, 4,118 Christians were killed. Between the period of October 2022 to September 2023, from the documents that we have, 4,118 Christians were killed. We all know about the Christmas massacre that was coordinated by the Fulani militias on the Platte in 2023. You know that 300 Christians were massacred. So you don't talk about Benue. Just within 2023, 500 Christians were killed throughout 2023 in Benue. And you go to this community, I've been there. The Christians are not there any longer. They have been displaced. So there is genocide in Nigeria. And so nobody can tell us lies when we know we have lost so much of our brethren. I have joined in the burial and the mourning of tens of thousands of Christians that have been destroyed and killed in this great country. All I encourage the Nigerian state is to rise up to occasion. Whether it is an attack on a Muslim, whether it is an attack on a church, we must stop it. There's genocide going on. And people are being eliminated, taken away from their community. And I want to say again, we cannot allow a one-party system in this country. It is not healthy. As much as we give our support to the system and the government to succeed, Nigeria cannot survive on one-party system. And I want to say to all these selfish, self-centered politicians, it is time you rethink your actions. Corruption among you must stop, and you must rise up for this time to make sure that Nigeria is salvaged and that together we fix this country. May God help every Nigerian, and may God continue to watch over the system and make things work for the good of everyone. God bless you. Share this with every Nigerian of good conscience. Let's pray. Number two, let's participate in the process and make sure that people don't just come on media. I was hurt, I was injured to see some of these media men coming on to say there is no genocide in this country. Lies must stop, and it must stop in our time. God bless you.
You have heard him, Pastor Bishop El Buba from the north. When you'll hear him speak, what do you see? The main reason I played his video is to confirm the genocide against the Christians in the north. He is from the north. He's a pastor in the north. He's a pastor in the north, I think, from Plateau State. So when we talk about this genocide, these are people who are in it. And he said that he is hot, that the government is denying that there is genocide. But the painful thing is that he is still supporting that government. He is still supporting that government. And 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 he is still supporting that gov With his church mind, he is still talking about one Nigeria. I remember how this man shouted during the time of Peter Obi. He did everything, campaign, took his church, joined in protest, everything. He was going out campaigning for Peter Obi. At a point in time, when there was a time they were killing them, and he began to tell their people to go and improvise weapons the same way Biafrans did during their own time. This is the exact word he used. He said the same way the Biafran people, the Igbos, improvised weapons when they had nothing. He told his people to go and do the same. But up to this time, the genocide is still ongoing. Nothing is done. And the worst now is that the government of the zoo is denying it. And he is mad. Come out and make a video to confirm that there's genocide. But at the same time, he believes in one Nigeria. That is where we don't meet. And these are the people Mazen Nnaly kind of talked about. He said, if you are afraid that when we leave Nigeria, then you become meat for the terrorists, that when we walk out of Nigeria, you become endangered, Mazen Nnaly kind of made it open, point blank. He said it and he swore under oath and say, when Biafra leaves, that those of you in the core north who are not safe over there can come to Biafra land. You have a portion. You will have equal rights with us. You will attain the same height, attend any position you want to. We are not the first people that do it. I think the British did the same thing in Europe when they took the Protestants from French. The French Protestants, they took them back to England and they gave them their own portion. And up to today, they are full citizens of England. They contest for every level, to any level of life. That is the same thing Mazen Nnaly cannot promise them. So those of you from the core north that are scared, you do not want to talk about freedom because you feel that when you join us and support the freedom, when we leave, you become endangered. There is nothing to fear. Mazen Nnaly cannot sworn oath that every Christian in the north, core north, every Christian in the core north that feel unsafe, you have the right to come to Biafra land to be part of us with your family, attend to every height you want to attend. You'll be given a portion, equal right with those of us in Biafra land. For you to understand how important the freedom is for us, it is not for selfish interests. This freedom we are talking about, it is not out of wickedness, not out of selfish. It is something that must be done. It is very, very important to save humanity. Biafra is to save humanity. Our eternal leader, Dim Odumegwu, described it as a place where the people who are oppressed run to for safety. That is how our eternal leader described Biafra. He said Biafra is a place where the oppressed people run to find refuge. That from the day one, Biafra wasn't created. It wasn't as if they want to just create a nation. No. It wasn't a plan to build a nation. It was a child of necessity that necessitated that Biafra must be to save human life. And for what is happening in Nigeria today, the only way to save humanity in Nigeria is to support Biafra, to recognize Biafra, recognize our referendum, recognize our self-referendum, and let us to go peacefully. That is the only thing to do. And the more international communities continue to run away from this, the more danger they expose themselves, because the Janjaweed will never stop. The terrorists will never stop. And this idea of separating what is happening in the north with Biafra, you are joking. Because when you talk about persecution against the Christians, when you talk about persecution against Christians, Biafran people are more than 90% Biafrans, Christians. More than 90% of Biafrans are Christians. And all these places you hear about burning of churches, you hear attacking churches, attacking Christians, go and check, you will see a Biafran among them. The biggest threat they see in Nigeria is Biafra. That is why they are using government apparatus to attack Biafra. That is why the people that are committing the genocide in terms of Biafra in Biafra land are the military themselves, the government itself. The government of Nigeria is the one committing genocide. It is not a blackmail, neither is it a propaganda. There are facts pointing to that. There are evidence in picture, in videos. It is still happening even as we speak. And we are calling on people that matters to pay attention. Now that they have chosen to pay attention, deal with this issue once and for all, and do not exclude anywhere, because it is something that involves everyone. It is something that involves everyone. And I thank Chukwu Okukabe and our voice speak, even people who are not Nigerians, like our neighbors Ghanaians, they are adding their voice and they are speaking. They are speaking, even pointing to facts that some of us that called ourselves, found ourselves in that zoo cannot do. Some Ghanaians are speaking loud, and we need to hear them.
Ladies and gentlemen, this world is full of narratives and agendas. And if you don't do your independent research into subjects of public interest, you will eventually be carried away by the popular opinion.
Absolutely.
And you will end up being misinformed and fighting on the wrong side of history.
That's right.
If genocide is what you hate and want to protest against, then you should be protesting against the systemic killings of Christians in the northern and central parts of Nigeria. And when I see African leaders talk about Israel and Palestine, I get confused when we have a lot more of such killing happening in Africa. Don't you know about the genocide happening in northern Nigeria? Don't you know of the coordinated campaign to permanently displace Christians from their ancestral lands in Nigeria? Don't you know the Fulani militants and the militias are not just killing Nigerian Christians, but clearing lands to claim them, ladies and gentlemen? Have you seen this image before? This is the picture of states in Nigeria where Sharia law is enacted. The colors in green are the Sharia state, which means the federal constitution of the Republic of Nigeria.
I love this very explanation. I want everybody watching us on this program to pay attention to this narrative that the guy is trying to explain. This very explanation is very broad and very big. This is something that the world is not paying attention to. This very part of this discussion that this guy is making, when you look at this map he presented, the place painted in green, all these places are already practicing Sharia law. You can imagine half of the country in the core north, they are already practicing Sharia law. This is not maybe. As we speak, it is in practice. Christians have been jailed, persecuted, and murdered because of this Sharia law. You can imagine. And this is a country that they come and tell you there's a secular state. Verbally, they will tell you it's a secular state. But in that secular state, this area painted in green, they are practicing Sharia law as we speak. Christians have faced persecution because of that. Christians have been murdered because of that. And nobody is held accountable. Even the government supports it and approves it. When we say the zoological republic is not meant to be, it is not out of hate. You can imagine this. Hasn't they taken themselves away from Nigeria already? They have taken themselves out of that Nigeria. They cannot have already taken, they have already restructured themselves. They restructured themselves and gave themselves Sharia, and they are practicing it. So why is it difficult to break this country and let everybody go their separate ways, build their own boundary, protect it, and practice that thing they want to practice? As they have now cut themselves out, why not the world weigh in? Since this is what you want, take it and protect your border. Be on your own and practice it there. Why are you still leaving that border open in the name of one Nigeria? And they are pushing this green down. They are forcefully, criminally politically pushing this very green down to make sure that all the part of the country begin to practice Sharia. And some of you think this is just a joke. I have played a video here where they presented this matter in Senate. They presented it in the House of Assembly. Somebody was saying that they should allow Sharia to be practiced in other places so that other people can have access to borrow money like others are borrowing. You see where they came in. They brought money forward. I played the video here where they presented this issue in their Senate to allow other countries become a caliphate. This is the problem. What you are seeing in that very map is the problem. This map you're looking is the problem. And there is no way you can solve this problem than to cut this map up. Let every other map down that want to draw their own map and cut them out. Then they can exist, practice what they want to practice. It doesn't mean that there are many Christian countries doing business with Muslim countries. There are some Christians marrying Muslims. It doesn't stop it. Even if we broke up, it does not stop us from doing anything. We can travel to anywhere we want to travel. But we will be cautious of where we are going, knowing what is being practiced there. Unlike now, they make you to believe you're in a secular nation and you go and commit you go on a suicide mission thinking that you're in a secular nation. You go to the corner, you commit suicide unknowingly. I want you to pay attention on this part of illustration of this guy. Pay close attention to this very map and the explanation he gave. He nailed it. When it comes to that map issue, he nailed it completely. I want you to pay attention.
Banks to claim them, ladies and gentlemen. Have you seen this image before? This is the picture of states in Nigeria where Sharia law is enacted. The colors in green are the Sharia state, which means the federal constitution of the Republic of Nigeria is subordinate to the Sharia law within that region, which means in the event of perceived crime and blasphemy, they will apply the Sharia instead of the federal constitution that allows for a trial in the court of competent jurisdiction, which also means only one religion will be permissible, which is Islam, and any other group of people that will live in that region will have to stop practicing their religion and pay a jizya, which is a form of tax, to be allowed to live. And it wouldn't make any difference whether you are an indigene or that's your ancestral home. This is what this map and the Sharia law is all about. And the target in this case has been Christians and churches. Do you know that both the federal and the state government don't give a rat's ass about what's happening to Christians in Nigeria? Let me ask you this. Is it possible you don't know all this because your TV is usually on channels that shows you wars in Europe and in the Middle East and not in Africa? Or that the social media algorithm on your phone has made it like that only videos from Palestine and Ukraine is all you see, even when our fellow black people are dying every day in the most gruesome manner in Nigeria? Islamists are chopping the heads of Nigerian Christians in the north every single day. Every day they attack families and towns in isolation in Nigeria and unalive all of them while shouting Allahu Akbar. Do you care to know more about that or you don't? You are busy shouting and protesting for Palestine at the US summit as an African and in the major cities of the Western countries, forgetting that there is a worse genocide in slow motion in Nigeria. Already the world doesn't care about us. African issues aren't on the minds of the Western powers. Already they don't care for us or what happens to us except for what we have. And we here, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, many people being programmed not to care about our own selves and protesting about what's happening elsewhere. The entire UN summit forgot to say anything about what's happening in northern Nigeria, as if the people there don't matter. Meanwhile, 52,250 Nigerian Christians have been murdered since 2009 and counting, and 18,000 churches burned. More than 10,000 homes belonging to Christian families also burned down, with their farms taken over by armed herdsmen. Ladies and gentlemen, that these people do their lives.
When you hear these figures and you are not moved, figures you are being that he's calling, number of human being that has life. They were not sick. They didn't look for anybody's trouble. The only crime they committed is that they are Christians. This has been going on for a long time. And one of the anointing, that the same thing you are hearing here, you hear him mention burning of houses, loss of life, destruction of properties, destruction of farm. This thing is going on in Biafra land even as we speak, committed and conducted by the federal government of Nigeria. These atrocities he mentioned now, burning of houses, destruction of businesses, destruction of farms, killing of the innocent. These things are happening in Biafra land as we speak, carried out by the federal government of Nigeria. Nigerian government is in the front line of committing this same crime, this same thing he's talking about that the terrorists are doing in the north against the Christians. In Biafra land, they cannot be able to, the terrorists cannot come in their normal self as terrorists. They can come in Biafra land in form of soldiers, backed up by Nigerian government, given uniform. What do? They go to places, they burn houses. What is the reason of burning houses? They say you are part of the indigenous people of Biafra. People asking for self-determination. They burn your house, burn family house. Young men as young as 15 years upwards, once they see them, is outright shootout. It is happening in Biafra land to speak, but nobody cares. And even when they pay attention, why are they still sidelined? There is no way you cannot handle the issue of Biafra and you solve the killing of Christians in Nigeria. It is not possible. If you are talking about killing of Christians in northern Nigeria and you are not talking about Biafra, you are not being sincere. You are not being sincere. You don't want to treat the issue. You are not being sincere. Because these two things are one, hand in hand. The same operations, the same operations, the same people, the same agenda. Why are you sidelining one and talk about one? Because one does not favor your economic interest. Because of economic interest, you ignore the issue of Biafra. You choose to talk about the North. Because of economic interest, you want to continue to allow the oil to flow to you. But I bet you it will not be for too long. It will not be for too long.
Actually matter to the UN and to you as a fellow African. Everything happening points to the fact that if there isn't an immediate and a deliberate military force to fight back against these jihadist movement in Nigeria, they will continue to kill and displace all non-Muslims until they turn the entire country into an Islamic state under a Sharia law. Who is going to stand up to them when the federal government of Nigeria is looking the other way? There is only one reason, ladies and gentlemen, the human race, and the free will to choose a religion.
They are not just looking the other way. The federal government of Nigeria is sponsoring them actively. We heard recently that this same terrorist attacks a military base. This same terrorist attacked military base in Kwara State, and the base rang the Air Force, and the Air Force declined. How do you explain that? I'm talking about military base was attacked. They rang the Air Force, and the Air Force declined. This is not the first time. It's not the second time, and won't be the last time. Nigerian government is actively supporting a terrorist. More especially in Biafra land, they are the ones carrying out the same operation you are talking about. They are the one carrying out this operation you are talking about. You see why it is important that the issue be treated in holistic. This issue of separating it and picking one side and leave one side is not going to help anybody.
And its practices is God-given. No one should be allowed to suppress it or deny anyone from exercising that right. gentlemen must stand up. The government of Nigeria must do better. This is an existential threat and must therefore be met with the requisite force. The killing of Christians needs the world's attention, and everyone watching must play a role in making this happen, ladies and gentlemen. This push must continue until it stops. In my heart of hearts, ladies and gentlemen, I know Nigeria will be great. I only look forward to that day when that one leader shows up on the scene.
Well, I don't blame him. He's speaking from Ghana. But if you're waiting for a day, a leader will spring up to change Nigeria, that day will never come. You're only waiting for the day of doom. If you're waiting for a day that one leader will rise from heaven, that God will send a leader from heaven to come and run and make it well, sorry to disappoint you. It's not going to happen. But I don't blame you. You are a Ghanaian. You are speaking based on your own understanding, showing your own concern. But those of us who found ourselves in that entity, we have looked right, left, and center, and we have come to the conclusion that the only solution, the only remedy is disintegration. Disintegrate that entity zoo. Everybody go their separate ways and build a nation where they can grow and survive without any interruption. A very corrupt entity. There is no way, and how can you, there's no how to look back on Nigeria. Very, very corrupt entity. Everywhere you look at, it is corruption. Anywhere you turn to, it is corruption. You see people denying the obvious. You see people in broad daylight, they are denying the truth. They are denying the truth. When you push the truth to them, they will swear an oath, even the truth they have confessed about before. Something they themselves have confessed about before. All of a sudden, because it doesn't favor them anymore, they will swear an oath.
No, sir, it wasn't working. We're looking at the judge.
It is sad, but that is the situation. So wherever you are today, as a Biafran, don't be silent. Don't be silent. Opportunity has presented itself for us to also cry out for our own situation. It's an opportunity.
Twice now. Twice now.
So it's an opportunity. And we have to grab that very opportunity that presents itself. Nigeria is a demonic entity. Today, you see what some of our Yoruba brothers are doing. Some of them who were in the forefront, they know the truth. But simply because their own townsman is in charge, they don't anymore. The time that their own state is taken over. Kwara state is being run over by the terrorists. And they want to take Kwara by fire, by force. You are not concerned. You are still lying. This is the video of this clown, where he was actually confessing and testifying, talking about what is happening today. This is where this clown, FFK, whatever they call him, was there, talking about what is happening today, but all of a sudden today, he is singing a different song. I want you to listen to hear what this man said in the past, but today he's one of those who is in the front line saying that there is nothing like genocide. There's nothing like Islamist. There's nothing like anything happening. I want you to listen to him, what he said in the past.
Twice now. You have twice now. You have I will not say surprise the nation, maybe surprise me, where you seem to have predicted what is going to happen and then happen. And then I'm surprised that the press, the world, didn't take you up on it. I'm going to come to the answer thing in a minute. Because the answer is like you called it on the money, that this is what is going to happen. You guys go out there, these guys, then I'm asking myself, is this man privy to some information I don't know? How can he read the political landscape that clearly? But that is not where I'm going right now. I want to go somewhere else. And I'm going to play your own video for you. evil that we are confronted with today, that humanity has to face down and respond to effectively, is what I call the rise of Islamic fundamentalism. It is not the rise of Islam, because Islamic fundamentalism is different to Islam. It's a completely different thing. And it is a great disservice to the great faith of Islam to describe Islamic fundamentalism as being Islam at all. It is a completely different thing. But this is what we're confronted with. It's a global war. A situation where those I describe as the Islamists, the Islamic fundamentalists, are determined to set up a caliphate that is ruled by the strictest form of Sharia law, 6th century AD Sharia law, implemented and ensure that every person, every man, woman, and child is subject to this law. And we define it by saying that the ultimate objective is to eliminate all other faiths, to create a situation whereby our values and our value system and that which the entire world has fought to establish over the last hundreds of years is wiped away, simply because some people believe that their own version of Islam should be imposed on the rest of humanity. They wish to enslave us. They wish to convert the world into their own form and brand of Islam. They wish to kill, maim, destroy, and stigmatize as many people as necessary to effect that. They wish to enslave women. They wish to destroy the lives of young people, and they wish to impose their will on the rest of humanity.
All right, you said that, and I want to ask you today now, 2021, April, that we're having discussion. Are you more worried that what you spoke about at that event is actually getting worse, or you think it's a whole different thing entirely that we shouldn't worry about that? Because those are very pretty strong words you use. I had to cut it out, where basically you are saying this Islamic fundamentalism is actually aimed at subjugating those of us of other faith. It's aimed at actually taking us over. Are you still standing by that today?
Well, I think the evidence is clear that everything that I said there was offensive. I gave that
Yes, today, I think yes. I was surprised.
Yes, and I've been writing about this for many years, since the year 2000. I've been writing about this, and I've been involved in debates with various Islamic scholars over this issue for many, many years now. And what we're seeing is a manifestation of what I had said would happen. Only it's going to get a lot worse. We really are in a mess now. And I said it at the time, in 2015, that it's one thing to see this happening, but it's another thing entirely if you elect a government to power that has elements within its party that belong to that tendency, then you're going to have bigger problems in this country. And we're beginning to see those problems. I mean, you have a direct conflict all around now, which when Jonathan was in power, in 2015, they were limited to Sambisa Forest. Now they're 2 hours away from Abuja, in the United States here. You also have a situation where they're taking over towns in Borno State. They're taking over towns all over the north now. They're taking over territories and towns, raping women and killing people. You also have another Islamist terror organization called the Fulani terrorists, Fulani herdsmen and bandits in some areas of the north of the country, terrorists. And they have infiltrated every part of this country. And they're killing people in the name of grabbing land, in the name of cattle rearing, in the name of spreading Islam as well. Very fundamentalist and very, very extreme form of Islam, which most Nigerian Muslims reject and do not accept. And what is happening is that within the government of Islam, we have elements that sympathize with these people, may not accept their policies or the way they do things, but certainly they have sympathies for them. And of course, people like Pantami who have said that they had sympathy for the light Taliban who supported Al Qaeda, that Osama bin Laden is a good Muslim, better Muslim than him, and that he was prepared to be, be the commander of Muslims, go into Muslim areas and retaliate and prevent for the killing of Muslim military in the past, and so on and so forth. This is the sort of thing that's going on now, and I just think that it's so clear what's happening in this country, and that's why I just laugh when people think that this whole thing is just about politics. It's a terrorists, those that wish to impose a caliphate on the rest of the country and ban other religions. The first was Mali, the second was Chad, and the third is Nigeria. Now, in the last 6 months, the president of Mali was removed from power, he was poisoned, and he was sent abroad to die. And now you have military doctors there. In Chad, the president was killed, and you now have a military government in that country, and probably killed by his own people, by his own troops. Now you have military government there. The only one left is Nigeria. And you see what's going on in Nigeria. Every local country of our country, you have terrorists everywhere, people being abducted everywhere, and we entered an era since the Nnaly where butchery is the. In fact, I stopped talking about it because I've been thinking about it for so long. Now it's actually happening. People are saying, "Oh God, this about it. It's going to get worse." And my fear right now is that we don't go the way of Nnaly, and we don't go the way of Chad as well, and something catastrophic and unacceptable happens, and we end up back to square one with the military. Nobody wants that. Nobody's praying for that. I am a Democrat. I think democracy, and I think we work out our problems. But in a situation where there's a total breakdown of law and order, we must recognize the fact that anything can happen. 90 soldiers have been killed over the last 1 month. 90 soldiers, Nigerian soldiers, have been bombed. 20 of them were killed by their own airfield, my own airfield, a couple of days back, accidentally bombed. IDP camps have been raided, schools have been, kidnappers are everywhere. Hospitals are being raided, churches are being raided, homes are being raided. The Southwest is filled with Fulani terrorists. The South itself, the forests of places like Igbo State have been bombed. Simple people are being killed. Now it's what you see, where people are beginning to retaliate, and you have insurgents, local insurgents going to government house, bombing the whole of the city government in the south, and trying to kill city governors in the north. So we really are in a mess, and I would suggest strongly that it's time for us to recognize two things. The first thing we have to recognize, it's time for us to come together as a people, regardless of where we stand politically, and understand that the enemy is not ABC or Muslims or Christians or Northerners or something. The enemy are the Islamists, the Boko Haram, and the herdsmen, the bandits who seek to kill us all. They want to kill every single one of us. They make no distinction. And they're now 2 hours waiting for Abuja. And we're sitting and saying as if we don't have a problem, and somebody's talking about 2023. We really have a problem in this country. And I heard strongly that Nigeria sits up, smell the coffee, and know that we are on the brink of catastrophe and possibly civil war, because the situation in the south right now is one of total militancy. Even in the middle belt, but they've had enough of this tyranny. Look at Benny Singh, what happened there yesterday, the way the governor's house was being. Even the governor of Niger State, even the governor of Bologna, because he's tired of what's going on, we're being overrun by Boko Haram. And yet, it appears that people still haven't recognized the fact that that is the major issue that we have to do. So it's time for us to smell the coffee, come together, and stand up against Islamic fundamentalism, and do something against this, do something about these terrorists, and fight them with a collective will that will ensure that our country remains together. Without that, I fear that Nigeria may break up in the next couple of years.
This idiot that just spoke now, if I play his video of what he is saying today, you'll be surprised. I just allowed him to vomit everything in his mouth, explaining the exact situation. This was 2011. This video you're watching is 2011. 2011. That was when he made all this comment, stating the facts, saying the way. But today, this man is one of the people who is telling people that there is no genocide in the north. This same idiot. And these are the people that are running the affair in Nigeria. And you are surprised why Canada called the ruling party's terrorist organization. You are surprised why Canada called Nigeria a terrorist country. This man that have said all this information today, he denies everything. He is the one that is defending and denying, calling people names, insulting people who say that there is genocide. The same thing he have preached many years ago. Even today, it is worse than it was in that 2011. It is worse today. Nigeria is a terrorist country. And nothing good can come out of it. Nothing good. Anybody that is wasting his time thinking that you can't get anything good out of Nigeria. Never, ever. And that is why Biafrans are presenting a remedy. The only remedy to save life is Biafra. Whether you like it or you don't like it continue in your hatred though, it will not change anything. Biafra is the solution. And I want to give you another example of the idiots that you will see. When you see them talk, you will understand that Nigeria will never, ever, ever be good. When we say it, we don't just say it because we want to talk. Let's watch this one and we'll end up
So,
with it.
at first, Minister, after you had gone to report me in front of President Tinubu and said all sorts, anyway, I am not beholden to you. My job is accountability.
You're too small for me to report you to the president.
No, but they are very
too small.
Minister, let me speak.
I want you to pay attention. This is David Omai versus a presenter, Rufai. Look at people that are running a country. These are people. When we say Nigeria is a zoo, Mazin Nandikan description, you can't beat it. You can't beat. Only in a jungle you will see people come on national TV. People who claim to be. This was somebody who claimed to be a governor before. One of the idiots in the front line of fighting against Biafra. The one Nigerian is. I want you to listen to their mentality and what they think and how they feel, how they roll in that zoo. I want you to look. Let us close the program with this one.
So, at first, Minister, after you had gone to report me in front of President Tinubu and said all sorts, anyway, I am not beholden to you. My job is accountability.
You're too small for me to report you to the president.
No, but they are very
too small.
Minister, let me speak. Minister, let me speak. I have empirical evidence. The world watched it on the commissioner of the project when you mentioned the questions I asked you to the president. That was reporting me to the president officially. The world watched it, so you don't need to dilly down about the empirical facts. I don't talk without facts, Minister. You know, when I have my facts, I talk. And I insist on my question when I ask of course. Let me address you, Minister. You will not allow me to speak. The problem is you will not allow me to speak. You spoke for over 20 minutes, over 10 minutes.
Because you don't know what you are speaking.
But let me speak. Let me speak. You will not allow me to speak. You see, if you can just keep quiet and be calm and just allow me to speak, I will be happy. All right. So my question still persists as regards the cost per kilometer. You cannot tell me that we don't have a right to know the cost per kilometer, even if it's an undulating landscape. Give us all the facts and the details of the cost per kilometer. That's all we'll ask for. Other questions as regards the loans taken. Let me finish.
Listen to me.
Minister, you will not allow me to speak. The minister will not allow me to speak.
No. Don't do that with me.
Minister will not
do that with me. I was in your studio.
Minister will not allow
when the first section was on, and I ran the figures. And what you're asking us is 750 kilometers of coastal highway. We should tell you cost per kilometer. So you multiply by 750. That's nonsensical.
No, so tell me the cost per kilometer. There's nothing too hard for you to tell me that figure. You've not still told me that figure. So I was right on that point. The second point.
Because you don't understand anything.
The second point I'm trying to
You don't understand anything. I'm a professor in this field.
Okay.
You don't understand anything.
What university
and you
gave you
cannot ask
professorship
me
in
to
this
tell
field?
you a cost.
What university gave you professorship in engineering? I didn't know you were Professor Mali, Minister. I didn't know.
You see, it is very funny. When they come on national TV, they can claim any title. Some claim doctor, some claim professor, some claim engineer, some claim different kinds of things. They just come and they claim something. But you see, a direct question. He claimed to be a professor in engineering. And a simple question, that is not supposed to be angry. Which school gave you professorship in engineering? Oh, I studied engineer in so place. This school gave me professorship. As simple as that. Then fact checkers will be there. We are here to check fact. We fact check whatever you are saying. And they forget that as they are in studio talking, there are fact checkers. People are checking the facts, what you are saying, whether it is true or lie. They think everybody is dumb. This is how the zoo rule. Why we say the zoo will never ever survive.
Gave you professorship in engineering. I didn't know you were Professor Mining, Minister. I didn't know. So please, you've not professor in practice. Professor in practice. Okay. I understand engineering very well. So and you have no knowledge of what you actually.
He's a professor in practice. No school. The answer is no school gave him a professorship. He is a professor in practice. You see how they do. And this, how can he even be asking an engineer whether he's a professor? After all, Buhari did not even attend secondary school and he became your president. He brought a piece of paper for you as a certificate and you made him a president. So a minister can be anything. You can give yourself, Tinubu himself that is there today that had appointed him, Tinubu gave you a fake certificate. Tinubu presented a fake certificate where he was admitted into a school as a woman and graduated as a man. This is the country that somebody wants to be proud of. This is the country that somebody wants to be part of. What a shame.
You will let me. You have no knowledge. If you will let me ask. So you keep quiet. Okay. And then stop. Minister, it's all right. Keep dignifying yourself and let the world see you for who you are. If you allow me to speak, the other 100 kilometers that you said you've added to it, we would like to know the cost per kilometer of that one. And the Winsome Homes, the case is in court. Now, I would like to know the cost per kilometer for that one. I would like to also know the over 700 billion first tranche of loan you guys got for this project. Has the money been spent? How was the money deployed? I would also like to know. I would also like to know the terms of that loan. All right? How many years? What's the payback period? What's the payback return of that loan? And for the Winsome Homes, isn't it interesting that as somebody that's been a governor in the state, you know the law, a case is in court, and then you're coming to talk about the details of the cases in court. Because you denied that the case was not in court. Now you've already accepted that the case is in court. So is it not just better you thrash it out with the woman that has been reporting a case in public that we all heard, and I ask you questions based on that? So, Minister, just answer the questions. I've got no axe to grind with you. You know that. We've spoken many times. In fact, when your people called to book, I booked them, and I said you should come on air. So please just tell us those information. It's very important, Minister.
You don't freeze.
I'm not hearing, even though this guy is not.
You don't freeze. Are you this?
Hello, my wonderful people. As we have finished watching this interesting video, please, I want to see your comment, your contribution, your opinion in the comment section. Like I said earlier, let us do it constructively. Tell me what you think about this video that you have just watched, and also about the platform. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Please remember to subscribe, put on your notification bell, share this video, and remain blessed.